Hi, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about why the two-party system in America is a bust. What do I mean by bust? Outsiders might call American politics a debacle, a hot mess, or even a dumpster fire. Not exactly the words you'd like to hear describe the system in which our society is based on. Did you know that at least 25% of Americans think that the political party opposite of their own is detrimental to the well-being of the nation? This is from a Pew Research poll that also showed that the nation has become more partisan over the last 30 years and that Congress has become less effective. This one-sided bias in the political sphere is not only damaging to the economy and to society, but to individuals. It is unfair to the average citizen to have their own needs being completely stepped over as a result of politicians' unwillingness to work together. So I'm going to show you guys some evidence to back up my claim and hopefully offer some solutions to this problem. The first point I'd like to make is that at any given point in time, either Republicans or Democrats have complete control of Congress or the White House, which means they can pass essentially whatever policy they see fit, leaving the differing party unable to pass any legislation. While on the other side of the coin, we may have a split in Congress where, say, Democrats control the House and Republicans control the Senate, in which case any policy is highly unlikely to go through. Eventually, we end up in this constant cycle. And to use a more specific example, Obamacare. Now, regardless of how you feel about Obamacare, I think there's valid points to be made on both sides. We had roughly 50% of Americans that full-heartedly supported it. And due to a Democratic control of the White House and Congress, it was able to pass. Fast forward to the next presidential cycle. Republicans gained control of the White House and Congress. Now, the 50% of Americans who didn't support Obamacare originally are able to have their voices heard and getting it overturned. So what we end up seeing is a turbulent environment that has a direct effect on the lives of every citizen, which leads into the next part, that the two-party system by nature is set up in a way that makes it unfair to at least one of the parties that were unlucky in the elections. According to a study done by the University of Washington, we can produce discrimination without having any intent to discriminate. The article goes on to say that although one side may have zero intent to discriminate against the other side, it is their obvious favoritism that causes this alienation. And while social media makes it easier for a minority group to express disdain with a particular policy, it doesn't mean that their disapproval will have any effect on policy itself. At its core, the two-party system makes it so that millions of Americans lose out on the opportunity to contribute to society in a meaningful way. So what is the cause of the two-party system? There are several factors that contribute to it. The first and most obvious reason being the Electoral College. To paraphrase Now This World, elections are structured so that the winner takes all. This leaves zero incentive for third parties to run in a way that garners a fraction of the votes, but not a majority. Another reason for the two-party system is that politicians are forced to cater to the extreme sides of their party. To quote a scholarly source, political parties appeal to particular interests. They seek to maximize their vote in the same way that firms seek to maximize profits by appealing to as wide a section of the market as possible. This battle of ideologies leads to divisiveness, revenge tactics, and the inability to accept or incorporate others' ideas and values. So, what are some solutions to this problem? I just want to start out by saying there's no obvious solution, and that these things don't change overnight, but there are some steps that can be taken to hopefully promote diversity. The first being to get rid of the Electoral College, or at the very least, make some modifications. Perhaps the candidate that lost the election, who keep in mind got tens of millions of votes, maybe they don't have to go take up book signing for losing the election, or whatever presidential candidates do when they lose an election. Perhaps they can be utilized in a way that lets their people's voice be heard. To go beyond that, a third party candidate should be treated in the same way. This will also promote politicians to work outside of their party lines. The second point I would like to make is that money has too big of a role in politics. In a survey taken in 2018, over 75% of Americans thought that there should be limits on the amount of money spent on campaigns. This will ensure that candidates will be elected based on merit rather than how deep their pocketbooks are. My third and final possible solution to the two-party system is that diversity should be a hallmark in American politics. No, I don't mean to elect a person just based on the color of their skin, but elect based on cognitive diversity. Elected officials should be an accurate representation of the American people. That means there should be someone in there that represents the various needs of, say, the LGBTQ communities or religious communities. By having various perspectives, it opens the door to dialogue, which can lead to effective change and cooperation. In conclusion, by shying away from the two-party system, it allows the nation to grow exponentially, culturally, economically, and socially. This will not only ensure that the needs of all groups are met, but yours as individual citizens. By attempting to understand the views of everyone, it will help America to become one of the most collaborative nations in the world. Thank you.